Welcome into the Wiltfong Whiparound with Steve Wiltfong. Today is Thursday, September 25th, and I am your host, Josh Newberg. We got to get to this show because we've already had a major flip go down this morning. We're going to be talking more flip targets taking visits this weekend. I'm ready to break it all down with the great Steve Wiltfong, but before we get into it, make sure you guys are subscribed to the best recruiting channel on all of YouTube, the Rivals Recruits channel. Also, join Rivals today. Get 1 year full access to The Athletic, plus all the On3 national and fan site content as well. I'll put the link in the description of this video. Let's bring in Steve Wiltfong. The Oklahoma Sooners got you working early this morning, Steve. It's been a tough week for OU fans, but some of this recruiting news is trying to balance out some of the bad news that they're getting with the football team. Steve, we woke up to a huge flip. Talk to us about it.
Yeah, five-star offensive tackle Cooper Hackett, the number one player in the state of Oklahoma out of Fort Gibson High, flipped his commitment from Texas Tech to Oklahoma. And over the weekend, I wrote, Sooners, they just got to get in the parking lot, not the ballpark of where Texas Tech's modern recruiting financial package was for the blue chip offensive lineman. They just had to get to the parking lot. I asked them after he committed to Oklahoma where they were at, how much less did he take? He said, I took a good chunk less, but he just wanted to be home, man. And Cooper Hackett flips his commitment from Texas Tech to Oklahoma. He says, if I'm in the NFL, which is what I want to do overall, that money is not going to matter, and I'm going to bet on myself, and that's what I'm doing. Oklahoma offensive line coach Bill Bedenbaugh is considered the best in the business. He went to Oklahoma's wins over Michigan and Auburn, felt that environment, felt that atmosphere. There's not many places like the Palace in college football, particularly at night. His relationships with the entire Oklahoma staff, not just Coach Venables, not just Coach Bill Bedenbaugh, but he talked about knowing all the defensive coaches. He said not a day went by where he and his family didn't hear from someone at OU. How about Oklahoma's prized true freshman offensive lineman Michael Fasusi getting on the field? That was a big win for the Sooners last cycle. Cooper Hackett, seeing him play, that's exciting for him as well. Loves the Oklahoma boys on the team. He has a great connection with the players there. Look, he was good with Texas Tech. And I talked to a source that said, I'd send my kid, I'd have a hard time not sending my kid to Texas Tech too with that opportunity. But at the end of the day, Cooper Hackett wanted to be at OU, get in the parking lot, get him to campus a couple times, and they got it done.
Yeah, and that was not a long commitment to Texas Tech. He made that pledge on August 30th. Do you think that he had Oklahoma in the back of his mind really since his commitment to Texas Tech?
Well, early in his process, he said Oklahoma was a school he was always comparing everybody else to. And so when Texas Tech started trending, we all know why. Now, the Red Raiders did a good job of recruiting him. They offered him early. They got him to campus. When Joey McGuire is recruiting you at Texas Tech, it's authentic. I mean, it's not just a transactional deal. I mean, Joey McGuire is a player's coach. Players love playing for him. And they did a good job of authentically recruiting him, in addition to doing a fantastic job of modern recruiting him. But sometimes you get the hometown discount. And the kid just wanted to play for Oklahoma. He's a Sooner. He loved going to games there. His family loves OU. Oklahoma's track record of player development on the offensive line, being around the guys, seeing those two big wins, feeling the trajectory of the program, getting the money to a point where you're okay with giving the hometown discount. He is now in the fold for Oklahoma.
And then about an hour later, elite offensive tackle Caden Perry commits to OU as well. Also, all within an hour, the number 1 and number 2 players in the state of Oklahoma are committed to the Sooners. Was this a package deal?
No, two young men doing their own things with the compass leading them to the same place, Norman, the Palace, the Oklahoma Sooners. Caden Penny, he's the number 2 player in the state. He is Rivals' number 34 prospect overall, number 7 offensive tackle from Bixby High, one of the top high school football programs in the country. He spent a lot of time at Oklahoma during his process. He was at the win over Michigan. He was at their big Champ U barbecue in the summer. He told me the culture there is real Coach Beatenbaugh is one of the best to do it. And so Oklahoma checks all the boxes for Caden Penny. I predicted him to the Sooners over the weekend after talking to a source. For Cooper Hackett, it was just, could he get over the fact that Oklahoma wasn't going to come close to the opportunities off the field at Texas Tech? And after 2 visits to Oklahoma for Cooper Hackett, his love for the Sooners, wanting to represent that logo in state, playing with all the guys he knows for a program that he has great pride in, they were able to get that one done. And Oklahoma's got the number 2 class in the country right now in 2027.
Wow.
They're at number 19 in 2026. They got some targets out there in 2026. They got some more targets out there in 2027.
All right, let's talk. Yeah, and Hackett was the first 5-star commitment for OU since Michael Fasusi last cycle. 5-star, not just on the offensive line, just at any position in general. So you mentioned that OU could stay hot on the trail. Steve, give us a little more.
Let's talk Game Time, the go-to source for your tickets for sporting events, concerts, entertainment, and more. It is in the thick of NFL season right now. College football is heating up. Conference rivalries are going on, and you want to be there. Well, thankfully, the Game Time app gives the advantage back to the fans. It's the hack for unlocking amazing ticket experiences, and it only takes a few simple clicks. The app is easy to use, and the Game Time guarantee means you can trust that you'll get 100% authentic tickets on time and at the best price. Plus, fees are always included, so what you see is what you pay, and that's why I use Game Time app for all my favorite teams in the Indianapolis area. It's super simple, and it makes the experience of buying great seats a breeze. Also, one of the coolest features I've seen is the Game Time lowest price guarantee. It's where Game Time will credit you 100% of the difference to guarantee you're getting the lowest price if you find cheaper tickets elsewhere. Here is what we're going to do. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the promo code Wiltfong for $20 off your first purchase. That is Wiltfong, WILTFONG, for 20% off Game Time, last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Well, let's stay on the offensive line. In the 2026 class, Oklahoma offered in-state prospect Daniel McMorris over the weekend. Talked to him about that opportunity. He said growing up in Norman, having the chance to play for the Sooners means a lot. Now, he doesn't plan on making a decision until November. Cal and Texas Tech are involved, but Sam Spiegelman likes Oklahoma. I certainly do as well. Over the weekend, they had 4-star Rivals 300 linebacker Jacob Curry up from Nice, Florida. He told me OU's setting the pace for him. My Rivals prediction machine forecast reflects that. He completely believes in Coach Venables, what they're building at OU, the whole package, every aspect from the coach, culture, fans, facilities, and development. He says that sets Oklahoma apart. We'll see if the likes of Ohio State, Florida State, Baylor can make a move for Curry moving forward. Braden Allen, receiver committed to Tulane, had an amazing visit to Oklahoma over the weekend as well. He's at Colorado this weekend. We'll see how that goes, but certainly Oklahoma gave him a lot to think about, loves the opportunity to play in the SEC. The coaching staff made him feel like he belongs there. The atmosphere is something he could see himself thriving in. So Oklahoma is one to watch for speedy receiver Braden Allen out of Louisiana. Love where they stand for Jacob Curry. And then certainly where they stand with Daniel McMorris in 2026. And they're trying to get involved with 4-star Milan Paris, who's an Iowa State receiver commit.
All right, Oklahoma fans, how you feeling? What a way to wake up on a Thursday morning with 2 huge additions on the offensive line. Let's talk about it. Comment section below. All right, let's talk a little Texas A&M recruiting as Auburn. They're coming to College Station this weekend, and A&M is hosting several number ones at their position. And when I say several, I'm talking number 1 defensive lineman Jalen Brewster, number 1 interior offensive lineman Albert Simeon, number 1 linebacker Cooper Witten, number 1 corner Joshua Dobson, number 1 offensive tackle Mark Matthews, number 1 tight end Ahmad Hudson. Steve, how are they doing this weekend? This is just a ridiculous visit list.
Well, obviously, Texas A&M is a well-oiled recruiting machine with a staff that does a good job of connecting with these blue chippers when they're young. I mean, the biggest visitor on campus, I know you named all those number ones, but for me, it's a 2026 prospect,
Yeah.
five-star edge rusher Anthony Tank Jones. He's committed to he's committed to Oregon, but Texas A&M, they were one of the first schools to build a real relationship with him. They've been on him for over 2 years. He loves the scheme, loves the staff. They're getting him back on campus. I think it's going to be tough to flip Tank Jones, an Alabama product from Oregon. But A&M is a program that's always been prominent in his recruitment. They didn't stop recruiting him when he popped for the Ducks at the end of summer. Now they're getting him on campus. He's been to Miami twice. Now he's at Texas A&M again. We'll see if he gets back to Alabama and other places. He's also been back to Oregon. Family says it's going to be tough to flip him from the Ducks. I think there's confidence around Eugene that they keep him in the fold. But Texas A&M, that relationship, the scheme, the 4-2-5 defense, his conversations with Coach Spencer, Coach Bateman, Coach Elko, just the vibe in College Station, proximity. There are a lot of things that Texas A&M has had going for them in this recruitment, and they're going to look forward to rekindling that magic, getting them around their recruiting class that ranks number 6 nationally. Most of those commits are going to be back on campus. It's going to be an awesome scene inside Kyle Field. They want to sweep Tank Jones up in that. And then in 2027, they got a chance to finish with the number 1 class. You named all those guys that are coming to campus from that group. I think they're in the best position for Albert Simeon, the offensive lineman from Louisiana. He's already been to 1 game at A&M this year. He has spent a lot of time there. Nebraska, LSU are 2 others that are certainly prominent. Jalen Brewster, this might be his last visit, Josh. He's going to commit on October 4th. Texas Tech is trending on the Rivals prediction machine. Joey McGuire's from Cedar Hill, Texas. He was the head football coach there for a long time. He's a legend. But the Aggies have had Jalen Brewster on campus, the stage they play on. This is maybe the last visit, and he's high on the Aggies going into the trip. Cooper Witten, I maybe liked Clemson going into the season. Tennessee, Oklahoma, Texas A&M, very much alive for Cooper Witten, maybe Ohio State as well. And then Joshua Dobson, Mark Matthews, Ahmad Hudson, all visiting this weekend. Number 1 corner, number 1 offensive tackle, number 1 tight end in the land. Ahmad Hudson heavily trending to LSU. We'll see if Texas A&M can be a thorn in their side.
All right, Texas A&M fans, let us know how you're feeling. Big names on campus this weekend. Who's going to end up in Aggie? Let us know. Comment section below. Let's talk a little Ole Miss recruiting. We got a pivotal SEC matchup with LSU this weekend, and we got a top 10 quarterback on campus. Keegan Croucher. When it comes to 2027, Steve, half of the top 10 are already committed. Keegan Croucher, 1 of 5 uncommitted in that top 10. Is this Ole Miss's guy right here?
This is no question their most coveted target at the position, maybe their most coveted target overall on the board. This is a football program at Ole Miss that has been on the cusp of competing for championships. They feel like they're on the verge of breaking through. They obviously have one of the best quarterback rooms in the country, and they would like to add Keegan Croucher to it down the road to push it and ultimately be the starter, be the face of this Ole Miss program that at that point they think will be a regular in the college football playoff. And Keegan Croucher, he's high on Ole Miss, he's high on Oregon, he's high on Penn State. But I may give the edge to the Rebels. There's no program that's recruited him harder, more consistent, got on him early than the Ole Miss Rebels. From Lane Kiffin to Coach Judge, to Charlie Weiss Jr., to General Manager Billy Glasscock. The family has had fantastic discussions with Keegan Croucher. He's been to campus. Now, this is going to be his first SEC game, so he's very excited. He could have went to the Penn State Whiteout this weekend. Now, he did go to the Whiteout last year, so he has experienced that before. He's going to go to Penn State's game against Indiana later in the fall. But he's going to one of the biggest games of the weekend, and it's in the SEC, and the Grove is going to be rocking. He's staying for a couple days, and he's talked about their offense being on fire and a lot of good recruits coming too. So he's excited to connect with those guys. We'll have more on those guys in a second. But the family's been blown away by Ole Miss, and they're bringing his mom. It's her first time coming down, so it's a big visit for her. This is shaping up well for Ole Miss. I like where they stand going into these fall visits with Penn State and Oregon. We'll see if they can get it to the finish line this weekend. Will be big in those efforts.
All right. Now, he's not the only one on campus. Also, flip target, cornerback Dorian Barney, who He made his commitment right here. If you guys remember that, I was here in the chat. But Dorian Barney committed to Michigan. What's he doing at Ole Miss this weekend?
Well, he's been keeping a couple schools warm. He was already at Georgia Tech this fall. Ole Miss is a program that stayed on him, and he's excited to go check them out. And talked about the program's growth and the way they're winning, and he loves what the staff's doing over there, and he can't wait to get down there. So Michigan's already had him back up to campus this fall. They'll get him up again. They'll be tough to beat, but Ole Miss is in the conversation, and he is one flip target that we're expecting this weekend. By next Monday's Wiltfong Whiparound, I wouldn't be surprised if we're talking about a couple more 2026 targets that arrive by kickoff in the flip category.
You're good, Steve. All right, top pass catchers on campus. There's a couple 27 names, Easton Royal and Keyshawn Bowman, and Bowman is fresh off a decommit from Oregon.
Yeah, Tennessee is a program that's been trending for Keyshawn Bowman. He also likes Ohio State. Oregon's still in the picture, but Ole Miss, their offense, the way they've recruited him, they're a program that's given him a lot to think about. 5-star receiver Easton Royal from Louisiana. Rebels are going to be one of his front runners throughout his process. Patrick Carter's done a really good job recruiting him to this point, and he's got some personal connections on this Ole Miss staff too. So we'll see what kind of move Ole Miss can make this weekend with Easton Royal. And they're also bringing in these offensive linemen, Josh. You got Keegan Croucher on campus. You want him to get around all his potential future teammates, right? Sell the whole package. And there's some really talented offensive linemen in state in 2027. It's led by Caden Moss, the number 4 offensive tackle in the country. This will be his second visit to Ole Miss this season. That one's shaping up well. 4-star LaMarcus Jones is excited to be on campus, tells me he loves Oxford. And then 2 guys that maybe aren't mainstream names, but guys Ole Miss loves, Antonio Berry, Cordero McDaniel. Those are 2 more offered offensive linemen visiting this weekend. So it's like, look, boys, we got Keegan Croucher here. We got these dynamic wide receivers on campus. We got these massive offensive linemen here in town. We got the number 1 running back in the country in 2028, Zayden Jernigan. Let's tie it all together. Let's make it Rebels. Let's win for a long time. That's going to be the pitch this weekend. They got to beat LSU on the field, but this is a recruiting weekend that could help them win these kind of games for years to come.
All right. It's going to be a fun one up there. We will certainly be talking a lot of Ole Miss recruiting next week, especially if they can pull out this win over LSU. All right. Let's talk a little Penn State recruiting. The Stars are coming out to see number 3 versus number 6. And number 3, Penn State, has the number 16 ranked recruiting class. But there's a big 5-star flip target on campus. Steve, Emmanuel Ihenacho. Who's he there to see, though?
Well, I continue to hear it's going to be hard to flip Manny Ihenacho from the Oregon Ducks, but Penn State was one of the programs that was prominent in his recruitment for much of his process, and they will continue to try and chip away at Manny Ihenacho this weekend. Look, proximity to home. They're the closest to home of Oregon, LSU, and Penn State down the stretch. Obviously, Penn State's playing terrific football. Their offensive line play has been one of their calling cards as of late. They can really run the football, and they're developing players at the point of attack. He's keeping Penn State warm. They hope to take it to another level. I mean, obviously, dude, it's a whiteout at Penn State in Happy Valley against the team he's committed to. Penn State looking for some revenge from the Big Ten title game the year before. Let's say they get it. They get another bite at the apple with Ihenacho, conversations with him, his family, whoever he brings with him to the game. So we'll see if Penn State can move the needle. But from an environment and atmosphere standpoint, Manny's been to some big games and been on some campuses and seen some things. But I don't know if he's seen anything like a whiteout just yet, unless he made it to the ones in the past.
All right. Anybody else coming to campus that you think Penn State could flip?
Yeah, 4-star defensive lineman Carter Gooden. He's committed to UCLA right now. Obviously, he's a target for them out of Tabor Academy in Massachusetts. Virginia receiver commit Josiah Teasley will be on campus, according to Blue White Illustrated. Amari Saab is a 2026, the older brother of 5-star athlete in the 2027 class, Xavier Saab. They want to play together in college. We'll see if Penn State is the right place for him. And there is an outstanding group of 2027s I love where Penn State stands for the number 4 receiver in the country, Matthew Gregory, coming into the weekend. Anthony Sweeney is a guy out of good counsel that you're certainly keeping a close eye on Penn State for. Maxwell Hiller and Olu Bobola are 2 offensive linemen that Penn State's near the top or at the top of the list for. But so many offered prospects coming to campus, so many guys that Penn State has a chance to make a great impression on as they host Oregon this weekend. Our Adam Gorney has a story where he interviewed Andy Frank, Penn State's general manager. Frank told Gorney it takes months to prepare for this game and this recruiting weekend. So you want to go to Rivals and check out that article with Gorney's interview with Andy Frank. But Blue White Illustrated has the full visit list. Those are the headliners on campus. I think Penn State ultimately lands Matthew Gregory. We'll see who else they move the needle for this weekend.
All right, now comes the hard part, Steve. It is prediction time. Give me your score for Penn State, Oregon. Whiparound fans, listen up. We got to talk a little bit about Roback because there is one way to describe Roback. It's best fit, best feel. And for those that aren't familiar with Roback, they are completely changing the game with their incredibly comfortable activewear. Roback has released my favorite with their new licensed Game Day collection. It'll be your favorite as well. They have great novel polo designs, a clean hoodie, and quarter zip designs for some of your favorite schools. It's definitely worth checking out. Nobody else on the market is pairing these level of custom designs with this quality of activewear. Now, Roback's everyday shorts or their Delta Performance pants are the perfect pairing as well. They are both super comfortable. I actually have them. They have an elastic waistband and great fabric it gives the appearance of a nice short look, but they have a much more comfortable feel for a day on the move. Now, Roback has been proudly leading the NIL charge as well, having signed partnerships with multiple college football stars past and present, and they're becoming the go-to brand for college athletes across the country. So here's what we're going to do. You're going to use promo code JOSH on Roback.com for a generous 20% off all new customers through the end of this week. So get on it. Here it is. Spell it RHOBACK.com. That's 20% off all performance polo shorts and more with promo code JOSH.
I got the Ducks. Don't have a score that I've zeroed in on right now. 30-24 Oregon.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to go like a 35-30 Oregon here. I like the Ducks, but we'll see. You know, our predictions aren't always on, but you guys, Penn State fans, let us know.
Indiana last week, though, didn't I?
We did nail that one. We got Georgia beating Tennessee. We've had a couple wins. I was just trying to let Penn State fans know that this isn't the end-all, be-all. But Penn State fans, you put your score predictions in the comment section below. Let's talk a little Georgia recruiting. UGA has flip targets and Elite 27s in Athens for this Bama game. Now, the Dogs have the number 2 ranked class in America when it comes to 2026. And they got some 5-stars on campus. Of course, Jared Curtis is going to be there. But Jordan Edmonds and Xavier Crowell, both Bama commitments. Are they here to see Bama? Are they here to see Georgia? What's going on?
Well, Edmonds told me he wasn't sure if he was coming to the game because he didn't want people to get the wrong idea because he'd have to sit in the Georgia section, but he would be rooting for Bama. So he looks locked in with the Crimson Tide right now. I know he's got a great relationship with Coach Linguist and the staff. Dogs HQ, Rusty Manziel reporting Xavier Crowell expected on campus. I had heard that he could be there, but I put him in the same category as Jordan Edmonds right now. Alabama was always considered the clear favorite for Xavier Crowell. But look, Georgia is a special place. The pedigree is second to none. They are obviously the best program, most consistent program in college football right now. And anytime Kirby Smart and his staff get to be around top targets, they're able to remind these recruits that it is indeed different at Georgia compared to other programs. And your chances of playing in the SEC title game, your chances of playing for the national championship, and your chances of hearing your name called in the NFL draft are increased at Georgia when you compare them to any other program in the country. So I certainly wouldn't like seeing any of my commits. If you're Travis Stevenson, he is committed to Georgia Tech right now. He's a rival standard cornerback. He said he just wants to go see Georgia play, but he's committed to his school, the Yellow Jackets. Well, I still wouldn't want him talking to Kirby Smart about playing DB anywhere, right? Jared Doty is the interesting recruit in the 2026 class this weekend. Him and JUCO offensive line target Jermaine Mitchell, who's committed to Mississippi State. Georgia recently offered Mitchell. They recently offered Jared Doty. It's obvious that that's one of the positions they're still looking to add to this number 2 ranked recruiting class. And so those are guys that I could see Georgia making another move with for as those processes continue. But then obviously this is about 2027 and beyond, these kind of recruiting weekends, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's hit some 2027 names. DJ Jacobs, we saw the Kirby Copter land at his school last week during the bye week. Also, David Gabriel Georges, one of the top running backs in America, who we've been talking a lot, Tennessee and Ohio State, but it seems like Georgia is also a real player here.
Let's talk Game Time, the go-to source for your tickets for sporting events, concerts, entertainment, and more. It is in the thick of NFL season right now. College football is heating up. Conference rivalries are going on, and you want to be there. Well, thankfully, the Game Time app gives the advantage back to the fans. It's the hack for unlocking amazing ticket experiences, and it only takes a few simple clicks. The app is easy to use, and the Game Time guarantee means you can trust that you'll get 100% authentic tickets on time and at the best price. Plus, fees are always included, so what you see is what you pay, and that's why I use Game Time app for all my favorite teams in the Indianapolis area. It's super simple, and it makes the experience of buying great seats a breeze. Also, one of the coolest features I've seen is the Game Time lowest price guarantee. It's where Game Time will credit you 100% of the difference to guarantee you're getting the lowest price if you find cheaper tickets elsewhere. Here is what we're going to do. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the promo code Wiltfong for $20 off your first purchase. That is Wiltfong, Wiltfong, for 20% off. Game Time, last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Yeah, for David Gabriel Georges, I like where Ohio State stands. That's my prediction. Tennessee giving the Buckeyes a run for their money. But Georgia, they lurk. And I talked to him after a visit to Georgia earlier this year, and he said the culture is different out there. It's all about football and family. His favorite thing, got to be the way the coaching staff keeps it real. They expect greatness, but you can tell they care about you on and off the field. So he loves that environment. Georgia is definitely a program to watch and could make a move this weekend with David Gabriel Georges. David DJ Jacobs, there are programs recruiting him like he's the number 1 overall player in the country. He is a Georgia legacy, very important prospect. His dad, David, obviously played for the Bulldogs. He's been to Miami twice this season. The Hurricanes are trying to give Georgia a run for their money. He's had a lot of fun around the Miami program, but Georgia is the one coming into his process you always pegged as they would be tough to beat. Safeties Kamari Dorsey and Chance Gilbert are elite players at their positions, in-state guys that Georgia's hot after that you figure they're going to have a great chance to land as well. Then one more player I want to highlight this weekend because I know Georgia's super high on him. This is his second visit for a game day this year. Joshua Sam Appel from Douglas County. He is also he's on some other college boards as one of the premier offensive linemen in the country. George is certainly one that's doing a good job early in his process.
All right, and we will see if more surprise names pop up in Athens this week, and I have a feeling we are going to be talking about this visit list for a couple days after this one. Let's give our predictions here. I'll go first. I'm going to take Georgia at home, but I think it's going to be close, Steve. I'm going like 28-25.
I got Georgia by 2 touchdowns.
Oh, okay. There it is. Georgia fans, put your score prediction in the comments section below.
Alabama just has to prove they can be as physical as Georgia, and I don't think they can be right now. So that's kind of that's the test.
That is. It's time to talk a little Colorado recruiting because the Buffs are getting hot. Steve, 2 commits in 2 days. Just yesterday, we had Christian Ward announce his commitment here. The wide receiver from IMG Academy is a Buff, and there could be more to come.
Yeah, this is a big recruiting weekend for Colorado as they look to add to a class that's heating up. They also want out for four-star defensive lineman Emmanuel Ruffin, beating Missouri, among others, for his pledge. They got several prospects on campus this weekend that are committed elsewhere. That starts with Syracuse offensive tackle commit Javian Cooper out of Melbourne, Florida. He is a major priority, and Colorado is on the upward trend ahead of this visit. Receiver remains a position of need for Colorado, their style of play. Braden Allen, a Tulane pledge. Brian Hamilton, a Pitt commit. Hamilton from Florida, Allen from Louisiana. They take their officials. Colorado's been on both of them for a while. I think they're in good shape for Hamilton. They're battling Oklahoma for Allen. Allen was in Norman last weekend, so we'll see where the chips fall there. Mississippi State defensive line commit Caleb Morris also visits. Auburn's a factor in this one, but Colorado's been involved for a while. This isn't just a pop-up. Lakai Tompkins, one of the running backs that Colorado's in on, he is Ward's teammate at IMG Academy. They're bringing him in on an official visit. He is committed to Louisville right now. We'll see if Colorado can change that pulse, Josh. They got some guys that are already going to visit for the Iowa State game in 2 weeks. So this is a big stretch for Colorado against two ranked opponents. BYU's in the top 25. Iowa State could be in the top 10 by then. They host an undefeated Arizona team in an undercover awesome game on Saturday night. What a weekend of college football we have. Colorado is the last game of the weekend, a Saturday night. What do they call it? What do they call the late night game?
Which ones?
After dark. What?
Oh, Big 12 after dark.
Yeah, Big 12 after dark. Colorado's the last game of the day. It's a standalone. And then Iowa State, they got four-star running back Christopher Talley visiting. He's committed to West Virginia. He's as high on the board as anyone Colorado is recruiting from Whitehaven, Tennessee. I think Colorado's in an interesting spot there. I would not be surprised if they flipped Christopher Talley. He would change the offense for Colorado because they are so pass-heavy right now. He is someone that I think that they would really commit to establishing the runaround. J.D. Hill, a defensive lineman from Mission Viejo, who's a very disruptive player at the point of attack. Colorado recently offered him. He's expected for Iowa State. And then Michigan defensive line commit. We'll see if he gets to campus. Alistair Vallejo, Colorado's in the mix there, having good conversation. So those are some flip targets that are on the books for visits. They're trying to flip quarterback Femi Babalola from Boston College. We'll see if he takes a visit. And then the biggest flip target on the board is five-star receiver Sedarian Morgan, Josh. Visited last weekend. It's a bit of a surprise visit. He got to get around Coach Sanders, Julian Lewis, this program. And I think they feel like they're going to be in it till the end for Sedarian Morgan. I think he's going to be a tough flip from Alabama. But him popping out, him having dialogue. We've seen Deion Sanders and his staff pull off some shocking, massive flips before. Sedarian Morgan is that guy for them this cycle. We'll see if they can get it done. But they definitely want to try and get it done on the field against BYU on Saturday night. Would be a massive win and would really show the growth of this football team coming off the way the season ended last year against BYU. If they can come out and get a win at home against the Cougars this weekend, it would be telling to a lot of recruits waiting to see what Colorado is going to look like the rest of the season.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is a big game for Colorado to win at home in front of a lot of recruits. I think it would go a long way. Colorado fans, talk to us in the comments section below. Give us your score predictions for CU Buffs versus BYU on Saturday night. Let us know.